Hi, it's Josh Goldberg here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 3 manipulative behaviors that are designed to keep you hoping, confused, and for the toxic person to evade taking responsibility for themselves. These behaviors are future faking, stalling, and breadcrumbing. So out of these 3 behaviors, stalling is the easiest behavior to notice because it is happening in the present time, and it's basically the person just making excuses, which is easy to spot. Whereas with future faking and breadcrumbing, these 2 manipulative behaviors are both based on the future, which hasn't happened yet. So sometimes it can be very hard to pick that it's happening, and I'm going to discuss each of these 3 manipulative behaviors now. So the first manipulative behavior I'm going to discuss is future faking. This is when the toxic person will keep the other person hoping and feeling encouraged that something is going to happen, when in fact nothing is happening and nothing is going to happen. So an example of this is, just say you have a couple that are living together, and one of the people in the relationship has a toxic family member living in the house with them. So the other person that's not a relation of this person gets fed up with them living in the house and emitting the bad energy, and they try and get the person to move on and to leave. And the toxic person that's living with them will say, I'll leave and move out on my own when I get a green card. 4 months later, they get a green card. They sit down to have a conversation and they say, no, I can't leave now because I want to wait for the rest of my family to get a green card and immigrate here, and then I will be able to move out. Okay, so that's another 12 to 18 months. And then if they wait until that happens, then at that time they say, no, I can't move out yet because I have to save up money for a house deposit. So this is future faking. It's basically making a particular action dependent on something else happening, which even when it happens, they just make a new goalpost and just keep you going around in circles. This is future faking, making the other person believe that something is going to happen to keep them hoping and encouraged, when really it's not going to happen and there's no intention of it happening. Another example of future faking could be if a partner wants their spouse to go to therapy because they have some unhealthy behaviors, and they will continually make empty promises and do the future faking. They'll say, when I get my payout, when I get my tax return, I will buy a block of 10 sessions for therapy. And then 3 months later, they get their payout and all the money just disappears, and they'll just make a new goalpost. When this happens, I'll go to therapy. When that happens, I'll go to therapy. And it either doesn't happen and they don't go, or the thing does happen and they just make a new goalpost. This is future faking. So the second manipulative behavior I'm going to discuss is stalling. So stalling is the easiest 1 out of the 3 to pick up on because it happens in the present time. And also with stalling, you will feel irritated and frustrated when you're dealing with stalling, because it's basically just the other person making up excuses, even though they might be convincing and believable. So for example, stalling might be when you bring something up to the other person to resolve something or to discuss something, and they'll just dismissively say, oh, let's not talk about this now because I got a headache. Or they'll say, I can't talk about this now because I don't know all the details in the story. Or I can't do this now because of ... Okay, or let's talk about this another time because right now ... Okay, it's always an excuse, and it is a common behavior, which is stalling. And like I said, it's easy to pick up on this because you will feel irritated and frustrated that you constantly get pushed off. And when the toxic person uses future faking and stalling and breadcrumbing together, this is where it leaves you confused because you're not sure exactly what's going on. So the third manipulative behavior I want to discuss is breadcrumbing. So breadcrumbing is also quite hard to spot sometimes, and it also is designed to keep you hoping and feeling encouraged for something to happen that is never going to happen. So an example of breadcrumbing will be when the toxic person will treat you nicely here and there, like they'll give you a compliment, or they'll put on a nice personality for a short period of time, or they'll buy you a gift, or they'll say some nice things to you. And this keeps you hoping and keeps you feeling encouraged that maybe they are changing, maybe they are making an effort in this relationship, maybe they are making progress in their healing, when really it is totally false, manipulative to keep you hoping and encouraged that they are going to change, when in fact they're not changing and they have no intention to change. Another example of breadcrumbing is where the toxic person will go to therapy and they'll choose a therapist that is happy to just sit there and listen to them talk for an hour each week and take their money. And they'll go there and just talk about stories that don't even exist, and will give you the illusion that they're healing when in fact they're not doing anything and they have no intention to change. This is breadcrumbing, where it keeps your emotions hopeful and feeling encouraged that things are happening when in fact nothing's happening. Now, the difference between breadcrumbing and future faking is with breadcrumbing you can actually see things happening, whereas with future faking you can't see anything happening. So breadcrumbing is particularly hard to deal with because you do see some evidence that something's happening, but really underneath there's nothing happening and the person has no intention of doing what they're claiming. So these were 3 common manipulative tactics of the narcissist to keep you hoping and to keep you confused and stuck. If you would like to add any comments, please feel free to do so. It helps other people to hear other examples. Don't forget to like this video and to share it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more of this type of content. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.